I had yearned for this moment for so long. Our love had grown through years of joy, shared aspirations, and whispered commitments. We carefully organized our wedding, envisioning a day that would symbolize the start of our eternity together. Amidst all the preparations, finding the ideal wedding dress was crucial. After weeks of searching, I stumbled upon it in an old shop, tucked away in a dusty corner, almost as if it had been waiting just for me. The dress was stunning. Its intricate lace, detailed beadwork, and elegant train seemed to embody a sense of timeless love. Despite its age, it was in perfect condition. The shop owner, a wise elderly lady, mentioned that it had once belonged to a bride from a different era. Without hesitation, I bought it, believing it was a sign of the wonderful future ahead. The days leading up to the wedding were a flurry of activity, filled with last-minute preparations and anticipation. As the big day approached, I couldn't help but be captivated by the beauty of the gown, envisioning myself walking down the aisle in it. However, every time I touched the fabric, an eerie sensation crept over me, accompanied by what seemed like faint whispers. Brushing it off as nerves, I focused on the excitement of the impending celebration. On the night before the wedding, I decided to try on the gown once more. Standing in front of the mirror, I was struck by how perfectly it hugged my figure, almost as if it had been custom-made for me. But as I looked at my reflection, the room suddenly felt colder, and the whispers grew louder. At first, they were muffled and unclear, but soon I could discern words: despair, betrayal, and vengeance. I attempted to remove the gown, but it clung to me stubbornly, as if unwilling to let me go. Panic washed over me, sending shivers down my spine. I grappled with the fabric, but it seemed to have a mind of its own, constricting tighter with each struggle. The whispers echoed in my ears, drowning out all other sounds, painting a vivid picture of a tormented bride left at the altar. Fear gripped me as I realized the gown was possessed by the spirit of a tragic soul. With a final burst of strength, I ripped the gown off, collapsing in a heap on the ground. Gasping for air, I gazed at the motionless garment, feeling a lingering sense of unease. The whispers faded, but the ominous feeling lingered, a reminder of the connection I now shared with the haunted gown. I knew I couldn't wear it for the wedding, yet I couldn't shake off the eerie bond. The next day, I opened up to my fiancé about the chilling encounter. His concern mirrored mine, and together we resolved to seek answers at the antique shop, hoping to break free from the ghostly presence that clung to the gown. As we stepped into the shop, an unsettling silence filled the air. The elderly woman welcomed us with a smile that seemed to hold a deeper meaning, her eyes betraying a sense of sorrow. As I shared the details of the previous night, her expression turned grave. She revealed that the gown had once belonged to a bride named Eleanor, who had suffered a devastating fate after being abandoned at the altar. Heartbroken and filled with shame, Eleanor had tragically ended her own life, cursing the gown to prevent any future bride from finding happiness. Determined to help Eleanor find peace, we sought the shopkeeper's guidance on breaking the curse. She entrusted us with an ancient book of rituals and spells, warning us of the challenges that lay ahead. To release Eleanor's tormented spirit, we would have to perform the ritual in the very place where she had met her tragic end, an abandoned church on the outskirts of town. That evening, we ventured towards the abandoned church, the gown carefully stowed away in a box. The atmosphere was heavy with both excitement and apprehension as we neared the decaying structure. Once inside, the church was a chilling reminder of its former grandeur, with splintered pews and shattered stained glass casting eerie silhouettes in the moonlight. Following the instructions from the ancient tome, we created a circle of salt on the floor and positioned the gown at its center. As we commenced the incantation, the air grew colder and the whispers returned, more persistent and furious. The gown appeared to pulsate with a life of its own, its fabric billowing as if caught in an unseen breeze. Midway through the ritual, a violent gust of wind tore through the church, snuffing out our candles. In the darkness, the whispers escalated into a cacophony, and I felt a cold hand graze my cheek. Panic surged, but we persevered, chanting the incantation louder, our voices blending into a desperate plea for liberation. Suddenly, The gown floated up from the floor, hanging in the air. The whispers ceased, replaced by a sorrowful cry that filled the church. The gown started to shine with a mystical light, and we gazed in wonder as the image of a bride appeared before us. Eleanor's face, once contorted in pain, now showed deep sadness. In a voice full of grief, she recounted her betrayal and the agony that tied her soul to the gown. She had cursed it in a fit of anger, but now she sought peace. With tears rolling down my cheeks, I vowed to assist her in finding solace. As we finished the ceremony, the light surrounding the gown grew stronger, surrounding Eleanor's spirit. Her figure began to fade away, and a sense of tranquility washed over the church. The gown dropped to the ground, motionless once again, and the atmosphere became calm. The gown was laid to rest in the churchyard, a humble stone placed to mark the sacred spot. Walking away, a sense of relief washed over me, knowing that Eleanor's soul could now rest in peace. Our wedding continued without a hitch, a new gown symbolizing a fresh start, and the happiness of that day remained untainted by the past. While the memory of the haunted gown still lingers, it stands as a testament to the strength of love and the significance of moving on. By releasing Eleanor, we not only salvaged our special day, but also granted her the tranquility she had been yearning for. If you enjoyed this chilling tale, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more terrifying stories. And remember, sometimes the most horrifying monsters aren't the ones that chase you, but the ones that wait patiently for you to come to them.